The bull, the fleece are crammed, and not a room. For love our money, let us picnic there. At Audley Court, I spoke, while Audley feast hummed like a hive all around the narrow quay. To Francis with a basket on his arm, to Francis just alighted from the boat, and breathing of the sea with all my heart, said Francis. Then we shouldered through the swarm, and rounded by the stillness of the beach, to where the bay runs up its latest horn. We left the dying ebb that faintly lipped the flat red granite, so by many a sweep of meadow smooth from aftermath we reached the griffin-guarded gates, and passed through all the pillared dusk of sounding sycamores, and crossed the garden to the gardener's lodge, with all its casements bedded, and its walls and chimneys muffled in the leafy vine. And there on a slope of orchard, Francis laid a damask napkin, wrought with horse and hound, brought out a dusky loaf that smelt of home, and half cut down a pasty costly made, where quail and pigeon, lark and leveret lay, like fossils of the rock with golden yolks, embedded and enjelled. Last, with these, a flask of cider from his father's vats, prime which knew, and so we sat and eat, and talked old matters over, who was dead, who married, who was like to be, and how the races went, and who would rent the hall. Then touched upon the gain, how scarce it was this season, glancing thence, discussed the farm, the four-field system, and the price of grain, and struck upon the corn laws, where we split, and came again together on the king, with heated faces, till he laughed aloud. And while the blackbird on the pippin hung, to hear him clapped his hands in mine and sang, "Oh, who would fight and march and countermarch, be shot for sixpence in a battlefield, and shoveled up into a bloody trench, where no one knows, but let me live my life. Oh, who would cast and balance at a desk, perched like a crow upon a three-legged stool, till all his juices dried and all his joints are full of chalk, but let me live my life who'd serve the state. For if I carved my name upon the cliffs that guard my native land, I might as well have traced it in the sands. The sea wastes all, but let me live my life. Oh, who would love? I wooed a woman once, but she was sharper than an eastern wind, and all my heart turned from her, as a thorn turns from the sea, but let me live my life." He sang his song, and I replied with mine. I found it in a volume of all songs. Knocked down to me when old Sir Robert's pride, his books the more the pity, so I said, came to the hammer here in March, and this I set the words and added names I knew. Sleep, Alan Aubrey, sleep and dream of me. Sleep, Alan, folded in thy sister's arm, and sleeping haply dreamt her arm is mine. Sleep, Ellen, folded in Amelia's arm, Amelia fairer than all else but thou, for thou art fairer than all else that is. Sleep, breathing health and peace upon her breast. Sleep, breathing love and trust against her lip. I go tonight, I come tomorrow morn. I go, but I return. I would I were the pilot of the darkness and the dream. Sleep, Ellen, Aubrey, love, and dream with me. So sang we to each other, Francis Hale, the farmer's son who lived across the bay, my friend and I, that having wherewithal, and in the follow leisure of my life, a rolling stone of here and everywhere, did what I would, but ere the night we rose and sauntered home beneath a moon that just, in crescent dimly, reigned about the leaf, twilights of airy silver, till we reached the limit of the hills, and as we sank from rock to rock upon the gloomy quay, the town was hushed beneath us. Lower down, the bay was oily calm, the harbor buoy, with one green sparkle ever and anon dipped by itself, and we were glad at heart. And for what reason are you playing your part? A pillared shade, high overarched, golden yolks. Is it necessary for people to be so parched? That is, planting turnips, barley, clover, and wheat by, which land is kept constantly fresh and vigorous. Oh. Sole star of phosphorescence in the calm. Like the shepherd. I guess that's it with that comment, but know the purpose of the people running the show, too. Consider what their purpose is before you go along with it.